My wife laughed at me in front of a room full of strangers at an indoor rock climbing gym. I clapped along like a proud idiot, and the twist was she wasn't laughing at my terrible climbing skills. It was supposed to be harmless. Date night, but healthy, Kara said, like that sentence should have come with a tax break. She'd gotten obsessed with climbing a few months earlier, said it made her feel strong, centered, whatever. I was more of a couch and wings guy, but I loved her, so I showed up. Harness on, shoes that made my feet feel like they were being folded for storage, chalk dust everywhere. And her, she was in her element, confident, loud, flirty in that I'm just being friendly way that's cute until it's not. So I'm halfway up the wall, trying to look like I belong there, and I slip. Not a dangerous fall, just one of those humiliating swings where you kind of pendulum into the padding like a toddler on a leash, and Kara loses it. Not that little aw babe laugh. Full on bending over, pointing, laughing like I just told the funniest joke in history. Everyone turns. People I'll never see again are watching me do my best impression of a marionette. I bow, I clap, I grin like, yeah, I meant to do that. And if you're new here, seriously, hit subscribe and drop a comment, because I thought I had a normal marriage. I thought I was just the guy who sucked at climbing. If you've ever ignored that weird gut feeling because you didn't want to be that guy, tell me. I did, and it cost me. Now, here's where it started to feel off. It wasn't the laughing. It was who she looked at while she laughed. Not me. Some dude near the bouldering wall. Chalked hands, sleeveless shirt, that smug little grin like he was in on the joke. Like Carrie and him had already shared something I didn't know about. I told myself I was being insecure. Kara was always social. She made friends everywhere. That was her thing. But driving home, she kept replaying some funny moment from the gym. Not my fall, something else, something I didn't even hear. She said, "You had to be there." I was there, and I remember thinking, why do I feel like I wasn't? Okay, hold that thought, because the next part sounds stupid at first, and then it doesn't. A few weeks go by, and the climbing gym turns into her second home. After work, she'd go clear her head, come back tired but wired, like she'd just gotten away with something. Then one Saturday morning, I go to power wash the driveway. I'm looking for this ugly bright orange extension cord we used for everything. Christmas lights, vacuuming the car, tailgates. That thing was basically part of the household. Gone. Not in the garage, not in the shed, not coiled up like it always was. I asked Kara casual, "Hey, where's the orange extension cord?" She doesn't even look up, just goes, "Uh, it's probably in the garage." I tell her I already checked. She shrugs like I asked where Atlantis went. Weird. And that should have been my first real clue, because Kara knew where everything was. She knew where the scissors were. She knew where the batteries were. She knew where my spare socks were. But the extension cord? Suddenly a mystery. Here's the part I didn't connect until later. When someone's lying, they get lazy about the small stuff. They don't care if the story makes sense. They just need you to stop asking. Then came last Thursday, exactly 6:40 p.m. I remember the time because I'd finally reset the microwave clock that morning. Yeah, I'm that guy. And for once, it wasn't blinking 12 o'clock like a haunted appliance. I was standing there heating leftovers, staring at 6:40 like it meant something. Kara had texted earlier, "Late at the gym. Don't wait up." Fine. Cool. Normal. She comes home around 9:30, hair a little messy, but not in a sweaty post-workout way. More like she'd been leaning into somebody's passenger seat laughing too hard. That kind of messy. She says they did a group climb challenge. Says it like she's reading it off a script. I nod. I don't push. I tell myself not to be paranoid, and then, 2 days later, I'm doing laundry, emptying pockets like I always do. Her coat pocket has this little square paper folded up, a parking garage QR receipt, downtown, 3-hour stay, entry time, 6:38 p.m., exit, 9:41 p.m., last Thursday. The gym wasn't downtown. The gym had a free lot, no garage, no QR code, no reason. I just stood there holding that receipt like it was a grenade that already went off. And listen, before you say, oh, maybe she met a friend. Sure, that's what I told myself for about 10 seconds. But here's the part that made my stomach drop. I scanned the QR code out of pure curiosity like, maybe this explains itself. It pulled up the transaction page. Paid at the kiosk. Cash. Cash. Who the hell pays cash for parking in 2026 unless they don't want a record? Okay, keep that parked in your mind, because what I did next is the moment everything started tilting. On my lunch break, I drove downtown, parked in the same garage, walked around like some lost tourist. There's this cluster of places right there. Restaurants, a sports bar, a wine spot, and a boutique hotel with mood lighting, and those fake fireplaces that make you feel poor just by standing near them. I kept telling myself I was overreacting, that I was being dramatic. And then I saw him, sleeveless shirt guy from the gym. I'd heard someone call him Mitch one time. He walked out of the hotel elevator area, like he owned the building, laughing with the front desk girl, all relaxed, like it was just another day, alone, but smiling like a guy who didn't go home alone the night before. I didn't confront him. I didn't even talk to him. I just watched him leave, and I felt my brain trying to protect me by turning everything into static. I drove back to work and stared at my screen like it was going to give me answers. That night, Kara says she's going to the gym again. I don't even plan it. It just comes out of my mouth calm as can be. Climbing or downtown? She freezes. Not for long, just long enough that my whole body went cold. Like her brain had to pick which lie to use. Then she laughs, fake light. What are you talking about? I didn't raise my voice. I didn't go nuclear. I just held up the parking garage receipt. And here's the part I honestly didn't expect. She didn't deny it. She sat down like someone whose knees finally gave up. She says, "It was just drinks. I didn't tell you because you'd overreact. Drinks don't require 3 hours in a hotel garage." So I asked the only question that mattered. "Did you sleep with him?" She looks at me and goes, "It's not what you think." Which is basically yes, but with extra steps. Now, wait, because the next part is where it got personal in the most humiliating way. I remembered the orange extension cord. 2 nights earlier, I'd opened her trunk to grab jumper cables. My car battery had been acting up, and there it was, coiled up next to her gym bag, like it belonged there. At the time, I thought, weird. Why is our extension cord in the trunk? Now I knew, or I was about to. I asked her, "Why do you have our extension cord?" She hesitates. Then she sighs like I'm the problem for asking, and she tells me they weren't just climbing. They'd been meeting up downtown, after hours, in this half-renovated art studio space Mitch's friend owned. No real electricity yet, just this temporary outlet in the hallway. So they used my orange extension cord to run a portable speaker and some string lights. She said it like it was cute, like it was this quirky little secret. I just sat there hearing my own household item turned into their vibe. And she goes, "It was fun, fun." Meanwhile, I'm home reheating leftovers at 6:40 p.m. like a sucker. I asked how long. She says, "Since the night you fell." That first gym night. So that laugh, her bending over, pointing, cracking up in front of everyone, that wasn't about me slipping. It was about an inside joke they already had, something between them, and I was the entertainment, the decoy, the guy they could laugh at together. My chest felt tight, like I was swallowing rocks. Here's the part that people don't tell you about betrayal. It's not just anger. It's this stupid, sharp embarrassment, like you were the last person to find out you were being played. That night, I didn't kick her out. I didn't do a big dramatic speech. I didn't even have the energy. I slept on the couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying every little moment I'd ignored. The next morning, she tries to act normal, like we can talk through it, like she didn't just pull the floor out from under my life. I go to work. I don't tell anyone. I smile at coworkers like my brain isn't screaming. At 6:40 p.m. that evening, I'm still at my desk, staring at the clock like it's a countdown to something awful. That time felt cursed now, like if I hit 6:40, she'd appear downtown like clockwork, and I couldn't take it. So I left work early. Didn't even think. Just grabbed my keys and drove straight to the climbing gym. I walked in and the smell hit me. Rubber mats, chalk, energy drinks. The front desk guy recognized me. "Hey man, haven't seen you in a bit." I tried to keep it casual. "Did Kara check in today?" He taps a computer. Looks up. "Oh, nah. She canceled her membership this morning." Canceled that morning. No mention to me. And right then I knew. Not I suspect. I knew. Because if she was just having drinks, she wouldn't need to cancel her membership like she was closing a chapter. She was rewriting her whole routine so I couldn't track the lie by accident. Okay, here's the part where I did something I never pictured myself doing. I drove downtown again. Same garage. Same weird fluorescent lighting. Same ticket machines. I parked, walked into that boutique hotel lobby, and my heart was beating so loud I swear the valet could hear it. And there they were. Not in some dramatic movie moment. Not kissing. Not anything that would have made it easier to hate them. They were just sitting too close on one of those low couches, like they belonged together. Her hand on his knee. Laughing. That same laugh. The laugh from the gym. Kara saw me first. Her face went white, like someone unplugged her. Mitch looked at me, confused for half a second, then annoyed, like I was the inconvenience. Like I walked into their living room uninvited. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. I didn't do anything satisfying. I just walked up and said, "You forgot something." And I dropped the orange extension cord on the coffee table between them, coiled neat, bright as a traffic cone. The front desk girl stopped typing and just stared, like she knew she was watching a mess but couldn't look away. Kara stands up fast, whispering my name, like that's gonna put the cord back in the garage and the receipt back in her pocket and time back where it was. I looked at her and said, "Keep it. You're gonna need power wherever you end up." Then I turned and walked out. And here's the wild part. I didn't feel like a hero walking away. I felt like I'd been punched without getting to punch back. I got to my car and just sat there in the garage, hands on the wheel, trying not to throw up. That's when it really hit me. How clean they looked. How calm. Like I was the only one whose world was on fire. The next week was like living inside a boring nightmare. Kara moved into an apartment downtown. I kept the house because, honestly, I couldn't handle losing everything at once. We talked logistics like we were negotiating a lease. Who takes what? Who changes the insurance? Who gets the couch? No screaming, no big cinematic goodbye. Just this cold, business-like version of our marriage dying on paper. One night she tried to soften it, tried to do that thing where she sounds sad so you feel bad for her. She said she never meant for it to go this far, and I told her, it went exactly as far as you drove it. She didn't argue. That parking garage QR receipt ended up in a folder with the separation paperwork. It's crazy how a little square of paper can be the loudest thing in the room. Now, wait, because the part that messed with my head the most didn't happen in the hotel lobby, it happened after. Months later, I went back to the climbing gym alone, not to stalk anyone, not to prove I was tougher. I just refused to let that place become their place in my mind. I signed up for a beginner class. Same harness, same chalk, same awkwardness. I got halfway up the wall and froze, hands sweating, legs shaking, looking down like it was 1,000 feet instead of 15. Nobody laughed, no pointing, no inside joke, just a couple strangers cheering quietly and an instructor telling me to breathe. So I breathed, and I climbed to the top. No applause, no big moment, just me touching the top hold and realizing I could still do hard things even after getting wrecked. I sat on the mat afterward, staring at my hands covered in chalk, thinking about how ridiculous it was that my marriage fell apart because of something that started as a hobby. But that wasn't the truth. She didn't cheat because I fell on a wall. She cheated because she wanted something new and shiny and secret, and instead of telling me she was unhappy, she built a whole side life and called it stress relief. And yeah, powered by my own extension cord, which is still the most insulting detail because it's so normal, so dumb, so domestic. Like they used my life as a prop. I never saw Mitch again. I heard through the gym grapevine he moved on to somebody else anyway, because that's what guys like that do. They're not building anything. They're collecting moments. Kara texted me once months later, said she missed what we had. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I put my phone down and didn't answer, because what we had didn't include hotel garages and cash-paid parking and group climb challenges that weren't group anything. What we had was trust, and she spent it like it was nothing. So yeah, my wife laughed at me in a climbing gym. I thought I was the joke, and the twist was I was just background noise in her new relationship. And if you're listening to this and something in your life feels slightly off, like the math isn't mathing, don't talk yourself out of it just because you don't want the truth. Sometimes it's not a dramatic scene. Sometimes it's a stupid parking garage QR receipt stamped at 6:38 p.m. Sometimes it's an orange extension cord sitting in a trunk where it doesn't belong. And sometimes that's all it takes to realize you weren't paranoid.